Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely buzzing because we're looking at the 139th Wimbledon Championships. Whether you're a die-hard tennis fan or just tuning in for your yearly fix of grass court magic, you're in the right place. We're going to visually map out the biggest storylines, the schedule, and honestly, the sheer scale of this iconic event. By the end of this, you'll have the ultimate beginner-friendly foundation for the entire fortnight of tennis.
Okay, let's dive right into this. 64.2 million pounds. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the record-breaking total prize pool for this year's tournament. I mean, it's a staggering 20% jump from last year, which actually makes it the largest single-year increase in Wimbledon's entire history. We're talking literal life-changing money on the line with every single swing of the racket. So today, we're going to trace exactly how that historic purse gets distributed and what it takes for a player to claim their share.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, a welcome to Wimbledon 2026. Then, the tournament schedule explained. Third, we'll be breaking down that prize money. Fourth, first-round matchups you absolutely need to watch. And finally, how to follow the action.
Welcome to Wimbledon 2026, the 139th Championships at SW19.
Moving on to Section 2, the tournament schedule explained, the road to the final.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that to truly appreciate Wimbledon as the oldest and most prestigious tournament in the world, you kind of have to understand the sheer physical and mental grind required just to reach finals weekend. The action actually kicked off way back on June 22nd with the qualifying rounds. For the survivors of that, or those already ranked high enough to be seeded, the main draw starts on June 29th. From there, it is a relentless two-week marathon. Grass is a really slippery, low-bouncing surface, so it takes a massive toll on the players' knees and lower backs. Surviving that unique physical gauntlet culminates in the women's final on Saturday, July 11th, and the men's final on Sunday, July 12th.
To fully understand the vibe of this tournament, you really have to understand its two very different worlds. First up, the qualifying rounds, held off-site at Roehampton. This is where 96 grueling matches take place far, far away from the glitz and glamour, with players just desperately fighting for a chance. There's no strawberries and cream out there, just raw, gritty competition. But if you can manage to win 3 matches in that environment, you earn your golden ticket to the All-England Club in SW19. You join the 128-player main draw, and suddenly, the true global spotlight is right on you.
And, well, the 2026 schedule brings some pretty unique challenges and historic firsts. Normally at Wimbledon, we're all worried about rain delays and remembering our umbrellas, right? Well, not this year. Forecasts are predicting scorching temperatures hitting 36 degrees Celsius. That heat is going to drastically test the physical limits of every single competitor out there. Plus, on the tech front, for the very first time in tournament history, electronic video review is being introduced for chair umpire line calls on center court, number 1 court, and the other show courts. This means players can actually challenge calls via video replay now, which will absolutely change the rhythm and pace of those high-pressure moments.
Section 3, breaking down the prize money, the escalating payday.
And this brilliantly illustrates how surviving this tournament brings exponential financial growth. Just a first-round exit still secures a player £80,000. But if you can battle through those early rounds into the second week and reach the quarterfinals, that payout rockets up to £480,000. And for the ultimate survivor who gets to lift the trophy, a cool £3.6 million. Breaking through to that second week truly alters a player's entire career trajectory. It provides the resources to hire better coaches, physios, travel teams, the whole shebang.
Here's a quick look at the exact round-by-round breakdown for singles competitors. It's fascinating to see how the numbers step up as the pressure mounts. Winning just your first match guarantees you £126,000. By the time a player hits the semifinals, they're nearing £1 million. But let's pause and really think about that baseline of £80,000 just for stepping onto the court for a first-round main draw match. For a lower-ranked player, that isn't just a nice little bonus. It practically funds their travel, coaching, and physical therapy for the entire rest of the calendar year. The stakes are immense from day one.
Because that first-round prize money is so incredibly vital for a player's yearly livelihood, there is a very specific ITF rulebook policy regarding withdrawals, and it's actually super smart. If a player is injured right before the tournament, they don't necessarily lose everything. First, the player must withdraw on-site prior to their scheduled match. Second, they have to have actively competed in another tournament in the 21 days prior just to prove they were match fit recently. If they check those boxes, they still receive 50% of that first-round prize money, which is £40,000. It's a really fascinating, technical rule designed to manage late injuries fairly, ensuring players don't play through dangerous pain just to collect a paycheck, while also allowing a healthy alternate to take their spot in the draw.
Moving along to Section 4, first-round matchups to watch. The contenders.
The storylines shaping the 2026 draw are absolutely captivating. We've got our defending 2025 champions, Jannik Sinner and Iga Swiatek, arriving with massive targets on their backs as everyone tries to dethrone them. But honestly, the biggest shockwave across the sporting world is the return of 44-year-old Serena Williams. She's making a wildcard comeback to Grand Slam singles for the first time since 2022. On the flip side, though, the tournament is also defined by a major absence. Two-time champ Carlos Alcaraz had to withdraw entirely due to a lingering wrist injury. That withdrawal literally blows the entire men's draw completely wide open, leaving a massive vacuum for the rest of the top 10 to exploit.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we look at the men's draw. Top seed and defending champion Jannik Sinner faces Miomir Kecmanovic. Sinner is entering as the heavy favorite here, especially with Alcaraz out of the picture, and he boasts a flawless 4-0 head-to-head record against Kecmanovic. However, Sinner definitely has something to prove regarding his conditioning after a pretty frightening mid-match collapse at the French Open earlier this year. Everyone is going to be watching very closely to see how he handles the predicted extreme heat in this opening round.
Over on the women's side, we have an absolutely fascinating generational clash. 44-year-old wildcard Serena Williams will face Australia's Maya Joint, who is currently world number 53. There is a staggering 24-year age gap between these two competitors. To put that in perspective for you, Maya Joint literally wasn't even born when Serena won her first Grand Slam singles titles. No way, right? It's Serena's first major singles match in 4 years, making this an incredibly historic and highly anticipated opening round test.
And then we have what can only be described as a blockbuster first-round nightmare draw. Britain's own Jack Draper, currently unseeded and on the comeback trail from injury, goes straight up against the number 6 seed Taylor Fritz. And remember, Fritz was a semifinalist here just last year. Fritz has won their last 7 meetings, making this a towering hurdle for the hometown favorite. This is a matchup that honestly feels like it belongs in the second week of a Grand Slam. But lucky us, we're getting it on day 1.
Section 5. How to follow the action. Don't miss a serve. Knowing when to tune in is half the battle when you're following a global tournament, right? The daily schedule is split up to maximize viewing. If you want to watch the raw action on the outside courts, play begins nice and early at 11 a.m. British summertime. However, if you are waiting for the massive, highly produced show court matches on center court and number 1 court, those kick off a bit later in the afternoon starting at 1:30 p.m. BST.
Whether you're watching from your living room or heading to the grounds in person, here's what you need to know. If you're in the UK, you can watch every single match completely free on the BBC and BBC iPlayer, which always offers incredible coverage. If you are lucky enough to be attending in person, well, downloading the official My Wimbledon app is completely mandatory. So the crucial point is, you absolutely need it for your mobile tickets, getting into the grounds, and even joining the famous queue. And if you're stuck at work or commuting, that same app offers brilliant live radio commentary direct from center court, so you won't miss a single rally.
So we've covered the blistering schedule, the historic prize money, the incredible comeback storylines, and the brutal first-round draws that await these players. With record-breaking heat forecasted and the world's best pushing themselves to the absolute physical limit on the grass, it all comes down to pure endurance and skill. I want to leave you with this one question to ponder as the tournament begins. Who will survive the gauntlet of the 139th Championships to take home that £3.6 million? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy every single serve of Wimbledon 2026.